Combining Blizzard and Ice Shards for the ultimate Ice Sorceress Shiva build. What is big eyes? This is Cobb. And if you enjoy madly running through dungeons, dropping blizzards behind you as you go, and beaming down elites with a ridiculous Ice Shard spam, then this build will be for you. We just blizzard everything with this build, and it feels great. And the best part about it is the build can be adapted to remove blizzard completely, and you can kind of optimize it in other ways and take it in a different direction if you so choose, and it can also work just fine. But Blizzard, that's the way that I like to play, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we're able to clear the capstone dungeon at level 54 with this one. Elias was a bit of a pain in the knob, but we got him down eventually. So if you're looking for a build to get started at level 50 plus, then this might just be the video for you to get you started in Nightmare Dungeons. I'll mention really early on as well, my gear is not that optimized. My gear is not maximally upgraded. Some of it's upgraded like 3 stars out of 5. I'm missing a lot of the legendary aspects that I want, but I do know exactly what I want. I do know exactly which way we want to build our Paragon boards. I'm going to share that all with you in today's here video, and feel free to adapt it for yourself as well, because I'm just learning Sorcerer myself. Hopefully you're learning along with me. Yeah, let's do this, shall we? So first of all, your skill enchantments. This is actually a continuation of a guide, by the way. I was using this same build to level. However, the enchantments have now changed. We used to be enchanting Fireball to level, just because, that on-death explosion damage was very, very good for just blasting through dungeons at level-appropriate content. However, once you are 50 plus and you're going into this build, you are going to want to enchant for Firebolt enchantment to apply that solid burning debuff so that we can start to kind of double dip and triple dip into things like reduced damage taken from burning enemies, extra critical strike damage against burning enemies, things like that. Stuff like this becomes much, much more important as you can optimize your gear towards that. So, Firebolt enchantment and, of course, good old Ice Shards enchantment there. Now, for the skill build itself, let's hop right in, shall we? Well, right at the start here, I've actually taken a point out of Enhanced Frostbolt and put it into Firebolt, so we can actually enchant Firebolt. That would be useful. And at this point, we're just never ever going to be using these basic skills on our bars. We go ahead and max out Ice Shards with all 5 points, very lovely, and make sure to get 3 points in Elemental Dominance for that sweet Core and Mastery skill damage. We are using both Core and Mastery skills a lot in this build, so yeah, this is just fantastic. We get all of our defensives with some points in them right here. And I also want to draw some attention to Mystical Flame Shield. This is one of those skills that is going to reduce your mana costs while Flame Shield is active. There's a few skills like this along the tree that you can kind of keep an eye on. And as soon as you don't need the mana cost reduction anymore, and as soon as your mana is staying super, super high at all times, and you just don't need this, you can redistribute this point elsewhere in the tree. Things like maxing out Blizzard or extra points in Frost Nova if you want to max out Frost Nova instead of Blizzard. That's the way that you can adapt the build to kind of make it your own and find more success with it. But yeah, I did just want to draw attention to that. Obviously, we have our 2 defensive passives here maxed out. These 2 are just extremely, extremely crucial, so make sure to not skimp out on those. Wizard's Blizzard is another one of those skills that's, making our core skills cost less mana. Again, we probably won't have a point in this forever by the time we hit like level 70 or 80 or something. My hope is that we just won't need a point in this at all, and we can redistribute that, probably pumping it into Blizzard itself. We also have Devouring Blaze here. This is going to increase our critical strike damage against burning enemies, which is fantastic because, all of our enemies will now be burning. I should also point out as well, is that these skills that you can pull out of things like Wizard's Blizzard and things like that, you can completely ditch Blizzard. You can put a bunch more points into Frost Nova to reduce its cooldown. That's an adaptation you can make. You can also even just remove Blizzard completely and put those points into Deep Freeze as well. If you're having issues with just kind of getting one-shotted, it's nice to have a Deep Freeze panic button, especially as you're kind of pushing your way, like really pushing your luck in the Nightmare Dungeons with the difficulty of content that you can achieve without getting one-shotted, right? Having Deep Freeze as a panic button is something that I am definitely open to myself as we level and scale up. Now, I do want to draw some attention to Frigid Breeze. This is going to be the main way that you're replenishing your mana stores. With enough lucky hit percentage chance, you will just simply never go out of mana ever with this build, as long as, you have the lucky hit to support Frigid Breeze proccing often enough, right? I want to draw attention to this for the reason of well, to explain why you're going a wand, right? You want to be using a wand and you want to be using a focus. The reason for that is, if I switch on over to a wand real quick, wands always have attached lucky hit chance percentage. Very, very important stuff. This lucky hit chance percentage is also going to inform our Paragon board selection a little bit later on too. So I do want to bring it up here. It's very, very important to have decent lucky hit with this build. And not just that as well, but the focuses are also fantastic for one reason only. They give cooldown reduction, which is just incredibly good when you have 4 defensive abilities like this. So just switching back on over to the skills real quick. For the key passive at the bottom, again, I feel like Avalanche right now is amazingly good for me. Getting off free cast blizzards feels very, very good. The increased damage from these also feels very, very good. It's also helping out with the mana issues quite a bit, because right now I don't really have the gear to support just infinite mana, so Avalanche has helped me out quite a bit. Could definitely switch on over to Shatter in the future. This is something that I'm open to. If we just never have mana issues ever, then I'm pretty sure that Shatter will just be overall more damage, I think. I'd love to test it out. A lot of you guys actually in the leveling build video were recommending Shatter instead. I feel like Avalanche right now is kind of integral to the build if you're spamming blizzards all the time. I feel like you just kind of need this. But Shatter in the future is another one of those kind of adaptation options that we can go into. So jumping right into aspects to gun for on this build, I'm first of all going to cover the 5 aspects that you can pick up in your codex from completing various dungeons around the map. Quick Google search on these will tell you exactly where to find them if you do not know. The first one is the Snow Guards aspect. Snow Guards makes it so that as long as you are standing inside of your blizzard, you take a flat 20 to 25% less damage. Very, very good defensive option for a build that is doing almost nothing but spam blizzards, right? The next is a little bit of a placeholder until you acquire some of the more rare defensive aspects, and this one is just the aspect of disobedience. This is the one, of course, that every time you deal damage, you get a small amount percentage increase armor up to 15%. Yeah, it's not amazing. Again, bit of a placeholder, decent one to pick up and get on your chest or head or legs. The next is the aspect of piercing cold. This one is super, super important. It makes it so that your ice shards actually pierce through enemies, albeit with a little bit of damage drop-off for every enemy that they do pierce through. But it's very, very good for those huge AoE bombs and to spraying your shards all over the place and clearing a billion mobs at once. That is piercing cold. Next up, we have prodigies, and this one is extremely, extremely important, or you're going to have a whole bunch of mana issues if you switch over to this build at level 52, 53. You're just not going to have the lucky hit chance to sustain your mana pool, and you're going to need prodigies until you can figure that out. What prodigies does is every time you use a cooldown, you restore 15 mana. We have 4 defensive cooldowns that we're spamming through all the time. So yeah, this is going to help you out a lot with mana issues until you can kind of get your ish together. And speaking of resetting the cooldowns on your defensives, Unwavering. The aspect of the Unwavering are extremely, extremely good for the purpose of resetting your defensive cooldowns. Every time you take damage, you have a small percentage chance to reset one of your defensive cooldown skills. Cooldown. Yeah, very, very good stuff. So those are the 5 aspects that I would recommend that you prioritize getting right away in your codex and just getting on your starting gear. It's going to help you out quite a bit. These next 5 aspects are going to take a little bit of luck from the Obols vendor in order to pick up. The first one is the Ever Living aspect, and this one makes it so that you take 20% or up to 25% less damage from crowd controlled or vulnerable enemies. Very, very powerful stuff. If you want to get your hands on this one as your defensive aspect, probably to replace your armor defensive legendary. If you want to get your hands on this one, you want to be rolling on Pants at the Obols vendor. That is Pants at the Obols vendor for aspect of the Ever Living. The next that you're going to want to pick up in this one, also extremely important. God damn it, I've been trying so hard to get my hands on the Frost Blitz aspect since even just getting close to level 50. I was like, man, I'm going to need Frost Blitz as soon as possible. It's so, so important. This one, of course, gives you 2 charges on your Frost Nova. Extremely, extremely good. You also want to be rolling on legs with your Obols to maximize your chances of getting this one. So that's 2 key aspects, 2 key defensive aspects that you can pick up by rolling on legs with your Obols. So yeah, legs are very, very high priority for your Obols for getting started with this build. The next is the aspect of Fortune. This one makes it so that your lucky hit chance is increased by a percentage while you have a barrier active. Yeah, you always have barriers active. So just getting that flat, it's basically a flat increase of a huge amount of lucky hit percentage chance for your character. Very, very powerful stuff if you want to be rolling for this one. I believe it is boots that you want to be rolling for aspect of fortune. I actually got quite lucky, quite fortunate indeed, and I actually did get the aspect of fortune quite early on, and it's helping me out a hell of a lot with my percentage lucky hit chance already, so very, very good stuff. The next that you want to be gunning for is the aspect of conceit, or rather the conceited aspect, and this one makes it so that you deal a percentage increased damage while you have a barrier active. Again, you always have barriers active. Yeah, it's just more synergy with that. It's just a raw damage output increase. Very, 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 very good stuff with the conceited aspect. If you want to be rolling for this one, I believe it is offhands, although this one is really, really quite rare. Roll on offhands with your obols if you want to get your hands on this one. But yeah, I would definitely prioritize the two where you are rolling for pants before going for this one. And even more rare than that is an aspect that I'm looking to try out myself. I don't know if this one is going to be completely necessary by the time we get a ton of lucky hit, but if I do get it, I probably will use it, and it is the aspect of concentration. This one makes it so that your mana regeneration is increased by 20 to 30% if you have not taken damage in the last 3 seconds. This one, very, very rare, but if you do want to roll on it at the Obol's vendor, then you'll be rolling for rings. I can't see myself rolling for this one for a long time. Once I've got all my other stuff maxed out, I'll finally get around to trying this one out. I don't know, again, how necessary this one will be once we have much, much higher lucky hit percentage chance on my character as we level up and just get better gear and stuff like that. We might not need this one at all, but if you do happen to grab it, it's going to help you out quite a bit with your mana regen for getting started. Just to pan on over to my character really, really quickly, you can see that I have like roughly half of what I'm looking for right now. I have the snow guards, of course. I have the disobedience on my chest, of course, for the armor. Again, this one is just a bit of a tie over. We actually have snow veiled on my legs, which makes my ice armor make me unstoppable for a few seconds. Again, a little bit of a placeholder. We do have the Glyphs of Fortune on my boots. That's a lot of extra lucky hit percentage chance that I'm getting. Cold Piercing on wand, Biting Cold on my offhand, which, it's not really ideal. We do have a very, very good conceited ring here, giving me a bunch of extra damage with barrier up. Prodigies on the ring, and Unwavering on the amulet. So I do have a few of what I'm looking for from the random drops, but not all of them. And the reason I just want to point that out is because, as we're looking at the background footage and stuff like that, maybe you guys want to see what my power level was like on my character. Nothing has changed on this character since I cleared that dungeon, so I just thought I'd give a little bit of a heads up, We're really, really not optimized, but we're still able to do a little bit of work, right? And as for uniques, you want to be looking for, or rather just praying for, I suppose, the Frostburn gloves to drop. The Frostburn gloves. Extremely, extremely good unique for this build. They give plus critical strike chance, which is just fantastic. They give plus cold damage, they give freeze duration, they give lucky hit chance. Oh no, they don't give lucky hit chance. They give lucky hit a 5% chance to restore a bunch of primary resource, which if you're maxing out lucky hit and you're building your Paragon boards to support lucky hit, oh my god, these things could be proccing all the time, so very, very good stuff. And of course, they have a chance to instantly freeze your target as well, which just can never really be a bad thing. So these gloves are amazing. Pray for them, goddammit. So really quickly covering gems and hearts. 30-second breakdown. Put rubies in your armor. Why? Because the protection skill tree passive that you spec into is going to scale your barriers based on your maximum life. So just having more maximum life is going to be very, very good. Emerald in your weapons for increased crit damage to vulnerable enemies. For your Wrathful Heart, the Heart of Creeping Death is very, very good. I think for obvious reasons, your damage over time effects are increased by a bunch. Very, 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 very good stuff indeed. The Heart of Tal Rasha is sweet. For each unique element you deal damage with, you deal a percentage increased damage for a few seconds, up to 9 seconds, actually. And all these effects can stack, so yeah. Teleport onto somebody, bit of fire damage from your burning effects, and obviously a lot of cold damage. So you're going to get a hell of a lot of value from this. And next up, we have the Cage Shard of Determination, which I'd recommend to go at least as you're starting out. Again, this is a build just in its fledgling state where this extra mana regeneration, this extra resource regeneration is going to help you out a lot. So yeah, Cage Hats of Determinations, I'd always suggest slotting in at least one of these at the earlier stage, perhaps to be replaced later on when you just don't need the mana regen quite so much. And that brings us nicely on to our Paragon boards, which, by the way, you're about to see that we have all of this build right here, including the skill tree and everything, all linked down below in the video description for you if you want to check it out, make some tweaks for yourself, stuff like that. And also get reminders of some of the best in-slot aspects that you can be looking for this build, or at least what I feel are probably going to be pretty damn good for this build as we develop it into higher levels. But going into the Paragon board real quick, because obviously I'm too low level to show that in-game. So I thought that I would show off some of the pathing and some of the glyph choices over here. So we start off with the Elementalist glyph. This one is just fantastic. Very, very good early value. Increasing your non-physical damage, rare nodes, and magic nodes over here. Just a nice one to start off with. You can get good value with this even before it hits like level 15, so it gets the, it's still got like the smaller radius. You still get pretty good value from it overall, so it's pretty good. The next board we go into is actually the Frigid Fate board. Now, going into this one mostly to maximize lucky hit early on, getting that lucky hit chance up as soon as possible is going to help us out by quite a bit. So getting Frigid Fate and also making sure to go off to the side here. Oh, no, it's not there. Where the hell is it? Oh, yeah, it is over here. Okay, yeah, you get all kinds of lucky hit chance over here from this rare and magic node as well. It's just really, really excellent stuff. For the next glyph, we go into Frostbite. Now, I don't know if this one is going to be absolutely the best. This one is subject to change. These can be switched around a little bit. But Frostbite, I think, is going to be sweet. Increased damage to chilled targets, and most importantly, enemies dealing way reduced damage for 5 seconds after they are no longer frozen, is going to be very, very useful for staying alive, which is a bit of an issue for sorcerers. So definitely don't be neglecting the defensive nodes as well. We get a bunch of extra damage mitigation up here on this one too. So make sure to pick up all of that good stuff. The next glyph, or rather the next board that we are going for is the Icefall legendary node board. And this is killing a frozen enemy, grants you 15% of your max life as a barrier for 5 seconds. I think that this is going to be pretty damn solid. This could potentially be skipped out on, and to skip this legendary node completely if you're not finding that you're in trouble very often. But I think this one is going to be pretty damn good, pretty damn useful. And the glyph that we go here is Destruction. Destruction, fantastic glyph to deal increased critical strike damage. So we're just increasing like our raw damage to begin with back here, and then on the third board, I would recommend probably starting to scale up our crit strike damage at that point. I think that this will be a good timing to pick this up because by this point, our gear should start to be, really coming together. In the next board as well, we got a long way here to pick up the Burning Instinct node. Yeah, this board sucks. Like, the legendary node and the glyph are completely opposite ends of the board, and it really, really sucks, but I do think that it is just extremely powerful. The legendary node itself increases burning damage by 40% of your crit strike damage, which your critical strike damage is going to be a lot at this point. So yeah, this is just going to give you an insane amount of burn damage on your on our enchant, basically. And the next glyph we're going into here is probably going to be Control. Yeah, increased damage to crowd control targets. Very, very nice. You also gain, as the additional bonus, 10% increased damage to chilled enemies, or 20% increased damage to frozen enemies, which, yeah, obviously works very, very good for us. So that's just a quick glimpse of the Paragon board. I've deliberately left like 14 points here unspent. And these are obviously very, very adaptable and subject to change because I haven't actually playtested these that much yet, but this is what I'm going to be gunning for as the season pans out, man. So, yeah. But alright, guys, that'll about do it, man. If you're enjoying the build, if you're enjoying the leveling build, if you're looking forward to pumping it and adapting it through the Nightmare Dungeon grind, the early Nightmare Dungeon grind, then, yeah, let me know in a comment. Drop a like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you all did enjoy this happy little video. I shall catch all of you guys just a tad bit later.